Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another Workforce Wednesdays. My name is Yvonne Beals, and I'm the Chief Education Officer for the Center for Urban Excellence. And we welcome all of you on the call tonight. We have another great presentation from a community-based organization that is founded in uh, Solano County in Fairfield or in Vallejo, and services both Contra Costa and East Solano County, excuse me. And Mr. Patrick Scott is going to introduce his program to you. He is in collaboration with Brother Fahim with Motivated to Help Others, in collaboration with a couple of other organizations and services, justice involved youth, and so much more. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Scott to introduce to you his program and services that will be beneficial to not only you as a participant, but maybe within our community and our family. So Mr. Scott, thank you so much for your time this evening. We appreciate you jumping on to share with us all of the great work that you're doing inside and outside the community. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, hello, everyone. First of all, I want to say it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I was elected, I should say selected at the last minute, but I'm glad that I'm able to attend since it's the body of work that I do. Just to give you a little bit before I go on with myself, Fahim's Motivated to Help Others. We are, of course, partners with him, as well as I'm his closest and dearest friend, so I know just about everything he does. Also with 100 Years Enterprise is what I'll be really touching on, is an organization that we founded, collectively, three of us, myself, which is Patrick Scott, Fahim Lejean Reese, and Dante Gaines are the three founders of this organization. And collectively, we done 100 years incarcerated. I was 19 and they both were 17 years old. And Leonard, we found ourselves in prison serving collectively 100 years incarcerated. But during that time, we overcame so many different obstacles, and we took on a lot of self-help programs, colleges, seminars, Galvin Club, everything there is to reform ourselves and rehabilitate our mind state to prepare us to go back to the community that we helped injure. So we promised ourselves, we pledged to ourselves that once we get out, we will go back to our communities and help steer youth from making early death decisions in regards to what we did. And I'd like to personally just give you some insight about what we mean by early death decisions is basically you don't have to be murdered or killed, but you can make the wrong decisions that can put you in a situation where you're not able to acclimate, or should I say, able to live out your dreams or your passions because you're stuck in a situation that is next to death because you're not able to practice the things, or should I say, you're not able to, like I say, go from stage to stage in your life, from teenage and young man to adult man and mature to a wise man. And sad but true, we was stuck in a pine box from incarcerated on the grounds for over 100 years. So me personally, I did 31 years, got out, and we started with Fahim approached us about going on a podcast just to speak about, what that experience was like. And in myself, I didn't know what to talk about. I was fresh home. I was only out for like 30 days, went on the podcast, and the podcast launched us into naming ourselves 100 Years because the moderator at the time was so compelled by the story that we was telling about just doing that type of time at such a young age and getting out at 50. And he couldn't identify what that felt like. So he felt that he was doing us a grave injustice by trying to moderate us. And he's seen that we can articulate ourselves. So he said, won't y'all start your own podcast and name it something and talk about the experiences you have that can help youth not repeat the acts that you guys experienced. So the life skills led to Credible Messengers, all these punchlines by Credible, which is alive and well. And we didn't even know we was credible messengers until somebody called us and said, y'all guys are credible messengers. So with that, uh, we understood the business side of it, and we formulated that into an LLC. We wasn't making any money in that. Like, we weren't even in it for the money, but we told ourselves we want to own everything that we have, everything that we do. We want to own, whether we making money off of it or not. We want to own the rights to what we do, and that led to us doing a podcast and owning the rights to that. And from there, people took notice. And one of the people that noticed was named Mike Dunn. From He was the CEO of Boys and Girls Club in Martinez, and he was like fascinated by the the experiences that we have, and maybe we can help these kids at the Boys and Girls Club and in our communities not go down the same path that we once took. And so we became mentors in that regard, and that led us to Greenwood Academy in Richmond, California, continuation school, used to be called Old Gumpers. And we was in there teaching classes, teaching life classes, life skills in those schools. And from there, juvenile hall, and I have to say it, we met someone named Raina Robinson, and I'm quite sure she's on here. I seen her name, so I'm gonna throw you out there. But she was very instrumental in helping us understand and navigate through juvenile hall. It was a compelling partnership that we was able to allow to go inside juvenile hall and reach these young men from the ages 15 to 22, 23 years old. I guess they say the ages from, I think, like from 16 to like 24. And that connection allowed us to create programs inside juvenile hall, such as financial literacy, which Randa was teaching before us, and allowed us to come in there and pretty much, gave us our life skill. They was very attentive, and it just blossomed into something else. But it was the financial literacy course that we ended up adapting and from Raina Robinson, and we started teaching it. And then there was the other piece called CGA, Criminal Gang Anonymous, where we teach what criminal thinking is, how you can get so compelled in your criminal thinking that it turns into a criminal lifestyle. And then with that lifestyle, you end up being long-term incarceration. That will lead to that punchline I always say, steering you from making early death decisions. So those are early death decisions. When you make the wrong decision, you end up spending long times in your life in a place that you don't want to be and missing out on your true life that was ordained for you to have. So that's just some of the things that we touch on. We also do sleeping bag pass out. We also, go into communities and do one-on-one mentorship. We also do holding space, where we get every fourth week of the month, where we collectively bring young men and all young men, middle-aged men, and try to have a men's setting where we talk about the issue that confront our communities and how we can overcome them without being systematically impacted. So that's just some of the things that we do. Me personally, my life, I'm from Oakland, California. I got out and joined forces with Fahim and Dante. And again, we formulated 100 years, and we've been hanging tough ever since. It's landed us in places that we never would even perceived being. We at the tables. We negotiate our contracts. We are the owner and founders and CEO, treasury, and secretary of our movement. And so it's just it breathes life into what we do, and we looking to expand. We bringing in more mentors to help to do the body of work that we're doing today. So in light of, that's just some of the things that we're doing. Any questions? I would love to engage the young men and women to ask any questions of me and how I go about what we do and how we do, and some of the present programs that we're doing right now. I'm open for discussion for that.
Is there a particular pathway that you are sharing with those students that are in the detention facility?
Yeah, we have in custody programs and out of custody programs, if that's what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
The in custody programs I mentioned before consist of the financial literacy, the MC3 piece, which is the multi-core craft curriculum. And that consists of pre-apprenticeship program where we introduce them to several opportunities out of trades. So we teach them the hands-on skills as well as measurements. And then it's a NAP2 program that goes into exposing them to all the trades that's available and give them insight about how to go about those trades, even job interviews and such things of that nature, and using a hammer, saw, building saw horses, floor plans of that nature, just to get their hands in adapting of using tools and preparing them for what the trade or unions would ask of them. You know what I mean? So we get them in the pre-apprentice program so they could eventually become apprentices and be exposed to the trades and get into the unions.
Are those services available for out of custody young persons who might be
Yes.
interested in also uh, learning trades and apprenticeship, having access to apprenticeships? Yeah.
Yes. The out of custody services is more so a wraparound service where we do the one-on-one mentoring. So I give you examples. The judges might allow a young man or woman get out early, right? Based on the mentorship that 100 Years provides. And we do the one-on-one twice a week. We may see them twice a week for an hour or two. And that consists of maybe going to the gym, taking them to go get something to eat, taking them to a ball game, anything like that, right? To find a cohesive relationship, to figure out what they want to do. And once we find out what they want to do, we be the conduit, or should I say the pathway to help them get into these trades, such as Rising Sun. And then they out here in Pittsburgh, they got Future Build. They have a organization out there too, a pre-apprenticeship program in Vallejo, and they also have one in Richmond. So we're trying to connect all the youth that get out that have those resources available to do, MC3 and maybe punchily get them into a trade.
Awesome. Do you have any success stories that stick out in your um, recollection for how you have intervened with any particular groups of youth or a youth that you had part of your program?
We have several stories, right? I just name one. We have one, and I'm gonna highlight this, and I'm gonna bring Fahim into this because he was instrumental of working with that young man from the organization that we share, and that was we had a guy named Alvarado. I think Raina knows about this guy, and he did the MC3 program inside with us, and we was able to connect the Rising Sun on the out of custody program. And Rising Sun is a pre-apprenticeship program, but it's out in the communities. And so we was able to partner that up with probation and allow that man to go to Rising Sun pre-apprenticeship program while he's still in custody. And he go 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And he was doing that. And on the weekends, on the weekdays, he go from 6 to 9, 6 at night to 9 at night. And Fahim was able to drive him back. They would drop him off, and Fahim was able to drive him back to juvenile hall those 2 days. And it was successful. He completed the program, which was 12 weeks, consisted of 12 weeks, and was able to get released early. And now he's, I wouldn't say a welder, he's a iron worker. So that was a success in itself because he went through our program and custody program, and that was able to connect and be the segue for him to go into the out of custody program and eventually get released early and have a full-time career as an apprentice.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, we do things like that. What we're doing now is as we do the MC3 program inside, we starting to reach into the communities and partner with the MC3 programs on the outside. So if give resources to the young men that's inside to say, when you get out, whether you complete the MC3 program or haven't had the opportunity to get into the MC3 program from in custody program, we can get you out of custody program. So no matter what, those are wraparound services that we offer and provide for the young men that's getting out.
Okay. How do you measure the impact of your programs that you're having on the community?
Well, what we do is we take, of course, we take one young man at a time because everyone's situation is different. We try to get them prepared for release when we know they're within that year. or 6 months, we really tried to be robust about what are you going to do and how you're going to do it. And let's iron that out through the CGA program, right? And the CGA program is a criminal gang anonymous. So the wraparound services having a life skill program too, to set the curriculums to the side and really talk about where you at as an individual, where your mindset at. Because it could be just stooped in your criminal thinking. And if you can't break the monotony of your criminal thinking, then it's just a matter of time when you get out, you're going to get off that porch again because you still had the criminal thinking. So we sit up and educate ourselves about what that criminal thinking is and what triggers that. And then when it's triggering, you don't control it, then you get ready to set off a ripple effect in the community. You're going to hurt yourself first, and then you're going to hurt everybody around you. And that's the ripple effect that you're not taking account of. So we talk about those things and break them down in components so they can see it before they even, actually be in the community and living.
Yeah.
So, but we gauge it like that, and then from there, it's amazing that you asked me that, because just before I got on here, two young men that's not even on Community Pathway. The Community Pathway is just a component of the out of custody program that the judge refers to our program, and called us and asked to be mentored by us. So that's good to hear young men get out and call us as soon as they get out and say, hey man, where y'all, I want to, help me with some resources. And that's what we want to be. We want to be the kind of mentors that, they can reach out to and then talk to them in the most authentic way. And that's all a process. That's all a learning curve for them. Because, like I tell them, I said, I didn't have mentors that tried to steer me away from doing the negative. I had the mentors. I had the big homies in my neighborhood when I was young. If I had a problem with somebody, he'd give me a gun. If I needed some money, he'd give me some dope and tell me sell some dope. So it wasn't no solution. He didn't give me no solution. He just added to the problem. And we now understand that those are very, very short-term, at-risk goals you're setting yourself up for. Let's talk about the short goals and long-term goals. You got to start with a short goal to even get to a long-term. So we talk about these different conversation pieces that can help them, get, real in tune with themselves. And that goes a long way.
Do you offer services? I think you touched on a little bit, but do you offer services or mentorship for young ladies, or is this a male-focused program?
Well, we do offer the young ladies, like say we at Greenwood Academy, right? We mentor the men and women. But we understand, right, that when we're expanding, we want to bring women on, right, because certain issues women have, we can't connect with. And we connect with them universally, though, because be honest with you, when we at the schools, the young women are the most one asking for the most answers, right? Asking the most questions. But at some point, right, we know that it's going to take a woman to have lived experience to connect with another young woman, right? The feminine psyche. Not saying our work ain't universal, but we understand that we're going to have that tangible in place.
So if any of our participants are, or any of our family members per se, are sort of teetering the gray line of that at-risk behavior, how can we get a hold of someone for mentorship or some intervention with your program?
We have a website. We have a web and a shared number, to mean that you go to our website, which is 100 years, just like on my ad, it's spelled out, not 100, but 100 years spelled out, .biz, B-I-Z. And that website will allow you to see all the body work that we do. It has an extension line that you can call, right? And it'll hit all our phones. And we're able to pick up and find out the locale and whoever's more convenient to reach you there. Then say if it's in Vallejo, Fahim's more so in Vallejo. So if you hit his line, he says I'm in Vallejo, we will delegate and refer it to Fahim because he's right out there. So the resource will be quickly available for you. Me, I'm in East County. I'm in Pittsburgh, Antioch, Concord, Brentwood, you know what I mean? Just because I'm out this way and I have like 9 kids that I'm personally mentor out here, I'm more available out here. But the website is 1hundredyears.biz. So you can check on that website and get in contact with us and show all the body of work that we do, along with our podcasts that we take great pride in. Our podcast is called 100 Years Enterprise, and it's also, the title is Consequences of Street Life. And we have guests come on, psychologists, teachers, whatever, people that have lived experience, talk about the issues, what they was before and who they are today and what they're doing in the community. So
What
that's the consequence of
platforms,
street life.
what platforms is your podcast on? Is it on Spotify,
YouTube,
YouTube? Okay.
Spotify,
Okay.
YouTube, Spotify. We also on what was that? YouTube, Spotify. What else I named? Oh, Instagram. We be on we be on Instagram. We always posting to make ourselves available, make ourselves Facebook, but for the most part, YouTube and Spotify. And we got audio on Spotify too, in case people are driving.
Mm-hmm.
They can listen to us without, actually having a visual.
Okay, that's great. So what we'll do is we'll get that information from you, and as a follow-up to the presentation, we'll send the link to your website and all of the podcast information out to everyone to share with their family and friends who may be in need of your intervention services. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Scott at this
That's what
time?
I'm waiting on. That's what I'm waiting
Yeah.
on.
You can either put it in the chat or unmute yourself. Or
Anybody.
is there a prompt?
I know they got to be somebody. Anybody.
Anyone has a question? Okay. Well, we got a quiet bunch today.
It's all good.
Okay. Well, hearing no questions, Mr. Scott, we appreciate your time
Okay.
and all of the work that you're doing for our communities, and planting seeds and watering some other seeds for our brothers and sisters who are in need of support and intervention on their way home back into the community, and helping them into the community so that they um, lower that recidivism rate, which is also disproportionality infecting our men away from our families. So we appreciate all the work that you're doing. And on behalf of Q, we thank you for your presentation today, and we will definitely be in further collaboration with you and referring some of our community partnerships with you.
And I appreciate you allowing me to come on. And again, I look forward to hearing from you guys again. And thank you for motivating to help others, as well as 100 Years for allowing me to speak and represent the organization. And also, I got to give a special shout out for Raina for she know we going places now. She was part of our humble beginning, and anything that she has, I'll set out front. I will participate because I'm a loyalist, and so I appreciate for allowing me to come on. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right.